Then when you're finished using the printer mode, you turn it off by pressing Ctrl plus P again. Ctrl plus P acts as a toggle switch to turn the printer mode on or off. You must have your printer on when you activate the printer mode in order for it to work properly. In addition, you cannot use the printer mode with a laser printer. In the next section of our video, we'll show how to use an easier, more visually oriented method of using the DOS commands, called the DOS shell. We activate the DOS shell by typing DOS shell from the DOS prompt. This is D-O-S-S-H-E-L-L. It's all one word. Then we hit enter. And the DOS shell is immediately activated. And you can see that it's a visual way of representing the directories and files on the screen. Here, for instance, we have the root directory, the files contained in it. And we can look at these other directories as well. We'll show how to do this in a minute. The commands, the DOS commands, are contained in menus at the top of the screen. And we activate these menus by using the Alt and arrow keys on the keyboard. Pressing Alt highlights the first menu and also highlights the first letter of the other menus. We can move from menu to menu using the arrow keys. The right arrow will move across the menus. The left arrow moves back. To open the menu, we use the down arrow. The menu opens, and we have a choice of some different DOS commands in the menu. While the menu is open, we can use the right arrow to move to the next menu, and it opens at the same time. We can see different choices, even a help menu, that will help us in our efforts to use the DOS shell and to use DOS commands. Moving back to the File menu, we can also activate individual commands within the File menu by using the down arrow. Moving down the menu and back up again with the arrow keys. Moving to the right, the same, it's true in each menu. We move to the command that we want to perform and then hit enter on the keyboard. We can also activate these commands by using the highlighted letter. When this menu is open, then typing an F will perform this command. Typing an A will perform this command, whichever the highlighted letter is. Moving back over here to File, you can see that there are a few commands available at this time that we activate by using the highlighted letter. We close the menus by using the Alt key again. Hitting Alt closes the menu. Notice we can also choose from the menus by using the highlighted letter as well. Now we move to other areas of the screen using the Tab key. We press Tab to move down to the directory tree window. And we use the arrow keys within that window to select the different directories. Up and down arrows. Now we press Tab again to go to the next window. And this is the window that actually shows the files listed in that particular directory. And we can move backwards through the windows by using Shift plus Tab. Shift, Tab, moves backwards through the different areas. Notice that we are currently looking at the C drive. The directories and files on this drive are listed on the screen. We can switch to the other drives by highlighting this area and then using the arrow keys to switch to the other drive indications. We hit the Tab key to go back to this area. Now this is highlighted in blue. And use the arrow key to go over to the A drive. Let's choose the A drive. Now we actually make it access the drive by hitting the Enter key on the keyboard. Now it checks the A drive, and looking over to the right, we can see these are the files that are on the A drive in the root directory. What we want to do is move one of these files from the A drive to the C drive to show how to move a file. And we'll also copy one of these files to the C drive to show how to copy a file, and we'll show the difference between moving and copying. Now to perform some kind of action with these file lists, we need to activate this window. So we just use the Tab key as we just did and activate the window that contains the files, the file list. Now, to highlight or select one of these files, we just use the arrow keys on the keyboard. The down arrow to move down, the up arrow to move up. And let's choose this first file called Bold, and we'll move it to the C drive. We actually do the move operation by going to the File menu here, and remember we open up the menu with the Alt key. We use the Alt key and then the down arrow to open the menu. Moving down the menu, we find the move command here. Notice that you can also use the F7 key instead of actually opening the menu. This might be quicker if you can remember that's what F7 is. Now we choose this command by hitting Enter on the keyboard. Now a dialog box opens up asking us for more information. DOS needs to know where we want to move the file to. So we type in the information here. It has suggested A in the root directory, but all we need to do is to backspace here and type in the path for the file to follow. We need to type in the drive, a colon, and a backslash, and this tells it to move the file to the C drive in the root directory. We could type another directory name in to give it some other location on the C drive. Now we perform the move file procedure by selecting OK, and we do this by hitting the Tab key and moving to this OK box. We could move to the Cancel box and cancel, or we could move to the Help box and open up the Help file if we need help with understanding what this DOS command is all about. We keep hitting the Tab key to get back to the OK, and once we're in OK there, we can just hit Enter. Now it's actually moving the file. Notice now in the file list for the A drive, that file has been removed. Now let's switch to the C drive to see if it actually has been moved to the C drive. Now we use the Tab key to move back to this area here and use the arrow key to select C drive and then hit Enter on the keyboard. Now it reads the disk information and displays the C root directory, and here we see that the Bold file has been moved to the C drive. Now we can copy a file. It's a similar method. Let's go back to the A drive, the arrow keys, and then hitting Enter again to show us the A drive and the files on it, on the disk in the A drive. Let's choose this next file here. Use Tab to go over and highlight this window. Now that this one is highlighted, this file has been selected. Go back to the File menu by using the Alt key and the down arrow. This time we'll choose Copy. Notice that you can also use the F8 key for the copy command. You might have noticed that some of these commands are followed with 3 dots. Some of them don't have dots. The 3 dots, this is also called an ellipsis. The dots indicate that more information is needed. More is to follow. And whenever there's 3 dots, a dialog box will always open up to ask you for more information. In this case, it'll open a dialog box that says, where do you want to copy the file to? And to give a path and so forth for the file to follow to the new location. So let's choose copy. We've selected it now in the menu, and to actually choose it or to activate the command, we just hit enter on the keyboard. And the copy file dialog box is similar to the move file box that we saw a moment ago. Here we type in the destination, the path for the file to follow when it goes to the other disk. We need to backspace and type in C:\\, and again we could type in a directory name for if we wanted to put it in a certain directory on the C drive. And we'll tab down to the OK button and hit enter. It copies the file. Now notice the difference between move and copy. We still have this column file on the A drive. Now let's move to the C drive and see if it actually has been copied to that drive. We hit tab to move back to the top here, and then we use the arrow key to select C and then hit enter. It reads the disk information from the C drive. Now we check here and we see the column file has been copied to the other drive. Next we'll show how to use the search command, how to use view file contents, and how to delete. For this example, there's a file somewhere on the disk that I want to find and then look at and then delete if it's the one I think it is. So let's use the search command first to find the file. We've got the file menu open here, and we can use the arrow key to move down to search. Now we'll hit enter, and the search file dialog box opens. Currently it's going to do a wildcard search. It'll search for all files, and it'll bring up a list of every file on the disk. You can tell it to search the entire disk with the X in this box, or by using the tab key you can move down to this box and hit the space bar to turn off the X. That way it'll only search the current directory for the file. Let's hit the space bar again to put the X back in, and we'll go back. We can also use the arrow keys to move around in these boxes. We'll go back up with the arrow key to this line to type in the title of the file we want to look for. We'll use backspace, and I'm looking for an old AutoExec file. Type it in, and the extension is OLD. Now we can hit enter, and it has found the file. It's in the DOS directory. Here it says search results for this file, AutoExec old. So now I want to view this file. I want to see what's in it so I can decide whether or not I want to delete it. Going back to the file menu by hitting the Alt key and the down arrow, we can move down to view file contents. Notice we could also use the F9 key on the keyboard as a shortcut. Now we'll hit enter, and it shows us the contents of the file. It's an old AutoExec file. It's just got a few lines in it. And I'm satisfied now that this is the one I want to delete. At the bottom of the screen is a status bar that shows us the current keys, certain keys that are most important that are currently active. Notice that it tells us the escape key can be used to cancel this particular mode. That is the only way to get out of this view file contents mode. Notice you can also use the enter key to use as page down. If you had a long file and you wanted to view it, you could use the enter key, as well as the normal page up and page down keys. The F9 key will allow you to actually view the file in hex code. This would be good for programmers. We'll use the escape key now to escape from this view contents mode. Now we're back in the search window, and we've still got this file highlighted. This is the one we searched for. We want to delete it now. Let's go to the File menu by hitting Alt again and the down arrow key and move down to Delete. Notice there's a keyboard shortcut for this one as well. You can use the Delete key. Once you have a file that's been highlighted on the screen, pressing the delete key will bring up the delete command. Now we can choose it from the menu by hitting enter, and it gives us this confirmation box asking us if this is really what we want to do. Delete this file, and the cursor is here at yes. All we have to do is hit enter. We could use the arrow key or the tab key to move the cursor over to here and choose no, or we could move clear over to cancel, and that would cancel the entire operation of the delete operation. We want to choose yes in this case, so we just hit enter. And the message says no files match the file specifier. This is because we're still in the search mode. It's trying to find this file, but it no longer exists because we just deleted it. So now we can escape from this search mode by hitting the escape key. And now we're back to the DOS shell screen. We have some different possibilities for viewing things on the DOS shell screen. We can use the view menu to choose some of these. We'll hit Alt, and we'll use the arrow key to move over to the view menu, and then the down arrow to get some different views that are possible in DOS shell. Right now we're looking at a single file list. It shows the directory on one disk, and it shows files within each individual directory. We can use dual file lists, so we can look at two different directories or two different disk drives at the same time. This is handy for comparing two different disk drives or directories. We can also use a list that will show all files. We can show the file lists and program lists. This will allow us to run other programs such as MS-DOS Basic or the MS-DOS editor, also to run little disk utility programs such as Format and so forth. We can look at just the program list, the programs only. Let's show examples of a couple of these. First, let's show dual files by moving down with the arrow to dual file list and hitting enter. Now we have two sets of file lists on the screen. This one's looking at the C drive, and currently this one is also. We can change this one to one of the other drives to compare two different drives, or we could change this to another directory. Use the tab key to move through the different areas of the screen. Going to here, we could change to a different directory. This way we can compare different directories. Using Shift tab to move back up to here, let's move to a different disk drive. Let's move to A and hit enter. Now it's showing us what's on the A drive. This is a convenient way to view what's on more than one drive. Now going back to the view menu by hitting Alt, using the arrows, let's show the program and file lists view. We hit enter to select this view. Now we have a list at the bottom of some of the programs that you can run. Command prompt actually will just return you to a regular DOS prompt. Editor will run the MS-DOS editor program, which allows you to type in text files. MS-DOS basic program is a programming language. And if we come down and select the disk utilities, it will give us some other disk utility programs. We can move down again to this using the tab key and then the arrow key down to disk utilities and hit enter, and it shows us some of the disk utility programs we can run from DOS shell. Disk copy, backup fixed disk, restore, quick format, format, and undelete. We could choose any one of these programs and by hitting enter run that program automatically. So you can see that the DOS shell gives you access to virtually all of the DOS commands without having to memorize them. And should you ever need help, you can use the help menu, which gives you a list of different help topics, files that will help you on these different items. Now we exit the DOS shell by going to the File menu, down to the bottom, and choosing Exit. Notice that you can also use Alt plus F4 on the keyboard. We hit Enter, and we're back to the familiar DOS C prompt. In the next section, we'll show how to create and edit text files using the MS-DOS editor. We start the editor by typing in the word edit at the normal DOS prompt. Edit and then enter. The MS-DOS editor opens up on the screen. This program is very similar to the DOS shell in that it has the menus at the top, and it operates very much the same way. First, we press Escape to clear this dialog box. Then, moving up to the top of the screen, we can open the various menus using the Alt key on the keyboard. So we hit Alt, it highlights the File menu and also highlights the first letter of each of the other menus. And we open the menu as we did in DOS shell by using the arrow key. This shows some of the main file commands. We can move to other menus to see some of the different things that are available in Editor. Editor is basically a simple word processing program. You're probably familiar with word processing programs such as WordPerfect or Microsoft Word. Editor will create only simple text files and won't allow you to do any of the more elaborate things that you can do with those other word processors. To create a new document or a new text file, we choose the New command from the File menu. Notice that it's already highlighted in the menu. When it's highlighted, all we have to do is hit the Enter key on the keyboard. Now, in this case, we could create a new text file simply by typing in now from the keyboard. You could write a letter with Microsoft Editor, but probably you'll use it more often for things like creating batch files, such as the AutoExec batch file. Let's go back to the File menu by hitting Alt, and now let's open up an existing file from the disk. We'll open up the AutoExec file and show how to make some changes in that batch file. Because a batch file is actually just a type of text file. We highlight this Open command, then hit Enter. The Open dialog box opens on the screen, and the default is text. So it looks for all text files contained within the current directory. It uses the wildcard to find all the files that have this extension. It's only found one file. This is a letter text file that's been saved in the root directory. We're going to look for batch files, specifically the AutoExec batch file, so we can make some changes. So we'll use the backspace and type in the BAT extension and then hit Enter. Now, below it has found the AutoExec batch file, and we use the Tab key to move down to this, and we hit the an arrow key to select the files in here. Because there's only one file, it just selects this first one. Then we hit Enter to bring that file up. Notice it says loaded file is not saved. It's talking about this letter that we started to create here on the screen. It gives us a chance to save it or to not save it or to go back and finish it. In this case, we'll just choose yes, or rather we'll choose no because we don't want to save it. So we'll use the Tab key to move to the no and then hit Enter. So it didn't save the letter that we started, and it loaded in the AutoExec file, the batch file that we need to make the changes in. Editor works like many word processors that you're familiar with. We have the cursor here. We can move the cursor through the text using the arrow keys. We can also use the backspace and the delete key as we do in any other word processor. And we can, in addition, we can do a few other features. We can move text or copy text using the cut, copy, and paste commands that you may be familiar with from some word processors. To do this, we have to select the text first. We select text by positioning the cursor at the beginning of the text, and we hold down the Shift key and move the cursor with the arrow key. This selects the text. Now we've selected this first line, and what we want to do with this line is remove it. We want to move it from one section to another. We want to use cut and paste. The cut and paste and copy and paste commands are found in the Edit menu. Use the Alt key to activate the menus and the arrow key to open the menu. And we have cut, copy, and paste. We also have clear. Notice that there are keyboard equivalents for these as well. We don't necessarily have to use the menus. And we want to move this the text that we've selected to a different location. Let's use cut. The cut, copy, and paste commands use an area of memory called the clipboard. When we cut something, it's taken from the screen and placed in the clipboard so that we can paste it somewhere else. Copy does the same thing. It puts it on the clipboard, except it also leaves it in the document. Let's use cut first. Since it's already selected in the menu, we'll just hit Enter. Notice it's now removed that line from the document. Let's move our cursor down and to this next line here, and we'll hit Enter to create a new line. Now we'll use Paste to paste that text back in again. We hit Alt, open the Edit menu, and move down to Paste, then hit Enter. And that text has been taken from the clipboard area of memory and pasted into this location. Now we can also use copy and paste in a similar way. Let's choose this path command. Hold down Shift. We select the text in this way. We go back up to the Edit menu and choose Copy. We hit Enter. And that text is copied to the clipboard. Notice it's still on the screen. A copy of it has been placed in the clipboard area. Then we will create a new line below, hitting Enter, and we'll go back up and choose Paste now. Choose Paste and hit Enter. Now what we're going to do here is create a path for a new directory called Lee. We'll type in the C and the colon, backslash, and the name of the directory. This creates a path just as the other paths that were created above. Remember that the path command tells DOS where to find files. When you type in the name of a file at the DOS prompt, like a program to run, for instance, it knows to look in all of these directories to find that particular file. If you add a new directory, then you need to go back to your AutoExec batch file and type in the path to that directory so DOS can find your files. If you don't have the path commands in your batch file, your AutoExec file, then you'll have to type in the path at the time that you try to run the program or execute the file. So we've added this line in. Now let's go look at some of the other features of MS-DOS Editor. In the Search menu, we'll activate this by hitting Alt and going over to Search and hit the down arrow. We have three commands here. We have Find, and repeat last find, and Change. These allow us to search for a particular text in the document, and in the case of Change, to change that text. Find will just find all the locations of a particular word, say, or a particular letter, and Change will allow us to find every instance of a certain word or letter and change it. What we're going to do is change all of the C characters in our batch file to D. We'll assume that we've installed a new hard disk, and we're calling it the D drive. And we're going to create a batch file that's similar, but it has D's rather than C's. And it'll be easy to do this using find and change. Let's use find first just to show how it works. We'll hit enter. The find dialog box appears on the screen, and it's got the word Lee in here because this was the last word that we typed in. It always puts in the last word that you typed, assuming that maybe that's what you want to find. We can backspace and remove this if we want to and type something else in. For now, let's just show how this works by hitting enter, which is the same thing as selecting OK. And it has highlighted this word in our document. And again, we could have found any word. Let's go back now to the search menu, and we'll choose change. We highlight it with the arrow key and hit enter. And the change dialog box appears, and it still has this one selected because that's what we did before. Let's backspace and change this to the letter C and a colon, just to make sure that we're finding the C that refers to the disk drive. And we'll hit tab to go to the next line to select what to change to. And let's put D colon here. Now we can also choose match upper and lowercase, so it'll find the letter even if it's in lowercase. And we can also choose to find a whole word if we want to put X's in these spaces. We can find and verify, which means it'll find each C and ask us whether or not we want to actually change it to D, or we can just change all. Let's choose change all. The way we do that is to hit tab to go down here and select change all and then hit enter. The change complete dialog box comes up. We can look and see that the changes have been made. All of the C colons have been changed to D colons throughout the entire document. And this is a quick way to make some changes. And once we check to see they're done, we can just click OK. We can just hit enter to choose OK. Now that we've created a new file, we've made some changes in our file, we can save the changes to the disk using the save command from the file menu. You hit the Alt and arrow keys to open the file menu. Now if we choose save, it will save the file with the same name that it already has. Or if we choose save as, it will give us the opportunity to save the file with a different name, possibly to a different directory, and so forth. Remember that when a command has the 3 dots after it, it's going to open a dialog box to ask you for some more information. You notice the save command doesn't have the 3 dots. It'll just go ahead and save it with the same name that it already has in the same location. Let's choose save as. We'll hit enter. And in the save as dialog box, let's change the name to identify this file so we'll be able to remember later on what it is. Let's just put some D's here, 3 D's at the end of this for an extension. And we could change to a different directory or drive even if we wanted to, but let's just keep it in the C drive and the root directory. And since OK has the little white edges on it here, that means when you hit enter, that's what will be performed. You could move down to the cancel using the tab key or the help commands. We'll just use shift tab and move back over to OK and hit enter. Now the file is being saved on the disk with this name, and we can call it up from the disk later on. Now finally, before we exit the MS-DOS editor, we'll show how to get help if we need help. Over on the right side of the screen, there's a help menu right up in the upper right hand corner. And we can access this just as we do any other menu. Hitting Alt and using the arrow keys to move across. Remember, we can also use the first letter that's highlighted. We could hit Alt and then H. We'll use the arrow key to open this help menu. And it's got some files, a getting started file and a keyboard file, and a little file about the editor program. Now moving back over to the left, in the File menu at the bottom, we have Print, and we could print whatever file is on the screen. Notice also that there are 3 dots afterward. That will give you it will open a print dialog box that will allow you to choose any text file from the disk and print that as well. And then finally at the bottom, we have the exit command. We select this with the arrow key and then hit enter, and we exit back to the DOS prompt.
The video you just watched contains intermediate features. But you and your coworkers can gain powerful computer skills from our advanced video package. For only $149.50, you'll get advanced videos on Windows, Microsoft Word for Windows, Excel, WordPerfect, Lotus, and DOS. In 2 hours or less per video, you can learn dozens of powerful time-saving skills. Sometimes a single feature can save hundreds of hours of labor. And if you or someone you know needs a solid foundation in the basics of using computer software, we have the answer. For only $119.95, you'll get beginning videos on Windows, Microsoft Word for Windows, Excel, WordPerfect, Lotus, and DOS. That's $119.95 for beginning videos on Windows, Microsoft Word, Excel, WordPerfect, Lotus, and DOS. For those who need a solid foundation in the basics of using computer software. We ship all orders the day we receive them. You'll get your tapes in 7